90 days ago, I set up an experiment I had been wanting to run for a long time. I took 6 identical batches of cuttings from the same parent plants, same species, same stem health, same cutting technique, same rooting medium, same environmental conditions. And I treated each batch with a different rooting method. Plain water, commercial rooting hormone, cinnamon, honey, aloe vera, and willow water. Then I waited 90 days, checking every week, photographing every week, documenting exactly what happened to each batch. What I found surprised me more than I expected. Not because the winner was a mystery, I had a hypothesis going in. What surprised me was the order of the results, the methods that performed far below what the internet claims they do, and one result I genuinely did not see coming. Today I am walking you through all of it. Every method, every result. The honest truth about what worked, what did not, and what the science actually says about each one. Stay until the end. The $1 winner is the last method I am covering, and the reason it outperformed most of what people rely on is something the garden industry has a strong financial interest in you never fully understanding. Week 1. Before anything happens, understand this. Before I get into the results, I want to give you the single most important piece of context for interpreting everything that follows. Because without it, the results will not make complete sense. When a cutting fails, it fails for one of 2 reasons. Either it does not have enough rooting hormone, the auxin compounds that trigger root cell formation, to initiate root development before it runs out of energy. Or it gets killed by bacterial or fungal infection at the wound site before it ever had a chance to root. These are 2 completely different problems. And the most important distinction in this entire experiment is the difference between substances that solve the first problem, root stimulation, and substances that solve the second problem, infection protection. A substance can be excellent at infection protection and completely useless at root stimulation. If you apply it and your cuttings root anyway, you might conclude it works as a rooting hormone, when actually the cutting rooted on its own endogenous hormones and the substance just kept it alive long enough for that to happen. Understanding this distinction is the key to understanding why some methods produced the results they did. Keep it in mind as I walk you through each one. Week 2. First observations. 14 days in and I am seeing the first signs of life. The commercial rooting hormone tray is ahead, noticeably, visibly ahead. 3 cuttings already showing the first white root tips emerging from the base of the stems when I carefully lift them to check. 2 more with visible callus formation at the cut end, the thickened white tissue that precedes root development. The rest looking firm and healthy. The Willow water tray is performing better than I expected this early. 2 cuttings with callus formation. The rest looking healthy with clean wound sites and no sign of rot. A cutting that survives week 2 without infection is already ahead of the curve. The plain water tray is holding. No visible root development yet. No rot either. Just cuttings doing what cuttings do, waiting for their own endogenous hormones to accumulate at the cut site. According to Garden Myths.com, many softwood cuttings contain enough endogenous auxin in their own tissue to initiate root formation independently given enough time. The plain water tray is showing exactly that. The cinnamon and honey trays are where things get interesting, both showing noticeably less rot than plain water. The wound sites look clean, protected, and healthy. No discoloration, no softening. Both methods are doing exactly what their documented chemistry predicts, protecting the wound from infection. The question is whether clean wound sites become rooted cuttings. We will find out. The aloe vera tray is performing steadily. Nothing dramatic yet. The cuttings look healthy and the cut ends show the same clean protected quality as the cinnamon and honey trays, with one important difference I will get to at week 6. Week 4. The divergence begins. By day 28 the picture is starting to clarify in ways that directly reflect the underlying chemistry of each method. The commercial hormone tray now has 6 out of 10 cuttings showing visible root development. This is what a calibrated synthetic IBA concentration does. It floods the wound site with a stable, chemically resistant form of the exact hormone that triggers root cell formation. According to gardenmyths.com, IBA water solubility tops out at approximately 250 parts per million, significantly below the 500 to 1,500 parts per million used in commercial softwood applications. Commercial hormone wins on concentration and stability. The Willow water tray is sitting at 3 cuttings with visible roots. Meaningful progress. The natural IAA and IBA in Willow stems, confirmed by garden therapy, deep green permaculture, bite-sized gardening, and Jackson County Master Gardener Association, are working at a lower concentration than commercial products but delivering genuine auxin activity alongside the salicylic acid infection protection that has kept these wound sites clean since day one. The Aloe Vera tray has 2 cuttings with early root development, already ahead of where I expected it to be at week 4. According to a 2024 peer-reviewed study published in Frontiers in Chemistry using validated LC-MS/MS methodology, aloe vera contains confirmed phytohormones including indole-3, acetic acid, gibberellic acid, and salicylic acid. It is not just wound protection. It is a genuine natural source of plant growth hormones, which is why it is already beginning to outperform the infection protection-only methods. The honey tray has 1 cutting with very early root development, 10 others still waiting. The honey has protected the wound sites. Its antibacterial mechanism comes from hydrogen peroxide produced by glucose oxidase enzyme activity, confirmed by Biology Insights. But honey contains no auxins according to the MDPI Agriculture 2025 peer-reviewed study and multiple other sources. No root stimulation, protection only. The cinnamon tray has 0 root development at week 4. None. Cinnamon contains 0 auxin analogs, confirmed by unlikely gardener citing established plant hormone science and confirmed by Biology Insights. Its phytochemical profile includes polyphenol, tannins, and cinnamaldehyde, all plant defense compounds, none involved in root cell formation. The wound sites are clean. The cuttings are alive. But alive is not rooted. The plain water control has 1 cutting with early root signs. The plant doing it entirely on its own. Welcome to Gardening Answers, where every video is built on real experiments and real science, 0 products being pushed. If that is what you want every week, subscribe right now and hit the bell. Let's keep going. Week 6, the surprise. Day 42. And something I did not expect is happening in the aloe vera tray. 7 cuttings now showing root development. 7 out of 10. That is ahead of Willow water at this stage, which sits at 5. And the root quality when I examine them carefully is striking, longer and more branched than any other tray at the same point in time. This matches peer-reviewed data directly. A study published on bioactive root organogenesis induction in Epipremnum aureum stem cuttings with plant biostimulants and synthetic rooting hormone found no significant difference between aloe vera biostimulant and synthetic rooting hormone in the number of roots promoted per cutting. And mean root length in aloe vera treated cuttings was significantly greater than synthetic hormone treated cuttings at 14.44 centimeters versus 6.45 centimeters. The confirmed phytohormones in aloe vera gel, particularly the IAA and gibberellins verified by the Frontiers in Chemistry 2024 study, appear to promote root cell elongation in a way that synthetic IBA alone does not. One critical preparation detail confirmed by ResearchGate peer-reviewed research: aloe vera leaves produce more rooting compounds as an anti-stress response after separation from the parent plant. Best results come from leaves harvested 5 to 7 days before use rather than fresh-cut leaves applied immediately. This is the detail that makes the difference between average and exceptional results from aloe vera, and almost no gardening content mentions it. The commercial hormone tray is at 8 out of 10, still leading on consistency and rooting speed. The results are uniform in a way natural methods cannot fully replicate. Calibrated concentration delivers the same signal to every cutting every time. The honey tray is at 3 cuttings with root development, improving slowly. The infection protection kept those cuttings viable until their own endogenous hormones could work. That is genuinely useful but passive, not active. The cinnamon tray has 2 cuttings beginning to show root development. The antifungal protection kept those cuttings alive long enough for their own hormones to eventually initiate rooting. But at this point in the experiment, cinnamon is performing at the same level as plain water, which has also reached 2. Week 8 locking in. The results are largely set by day 56. The final 2 weeks confirm the pattern. Commercial hormone, 9 of 10 cuttings with established root systems. Consistent, fast, reliable across all cutting types tested. Aloe Vera, 8 of 10 cuttings with root development, with notably longer branching root systems than any other method. The 5 to 7 day harvest timing made a visible difference in this experiment. Willow water, 7 of 10 cuttings with root development. Strong and consistent across the full period. Honey, 5 of 10. Antibacterial protection gave cuttings enough time to use their own hormones. Useful in rot-prone conditions. Not a rooting hormone. Cinnamon, 4 of 10. Antifungal properties kept cuttings alive. No evidence of any activity beyond infection protection throughout the entire experiment. Plain water, 4 of 10. The baseline of what the plant achieves entirely on its own. Day 90. Final results. The experiment is complete. Here are the final results ranked from lowest to highest. Plain water, 38% the true baseline. What cuttings achieve entirely on their own using their internal endogenous hormones. Every other method is only valuable if it meaningfully beats this number. Cinnamon, 42% just above plain water. Contains no auxins, confirmed by unlikely gardener citing established plant hormone science and confirmed by biology insights. Provides antifungal protection only through cinnamaldehyde content. Kept cuttings alive long enough for some to root on their own endogenous hormones. The widespread promotion of cinnamon as a rooting hormone is not supported by this experiment or by documented plant science. It is an antifungal agent, not a root stimulator. Honey, 51% genuinely better than plain water. Antibacterial and antifungal protection from hydrogen peroxide produced by glucose oxidase enzyme activity confirmed by biology insights and the MDPI Agriculture 2025 peer-reviewed study. Contains no auxins. The same MDPI study found adding honey to IBA solutions did not improve root counts compared to IBA alone in rose cuttings. A useful protective agent in rot-prone conditions. Always dilute before use. Undiluted honey can dehydrate cutting tissue through osmotic action. Not a rooting hormone. Aloe vera, 71% the result that surprised me most. Contains confirmed phytohormones including indole-3, acetic acid, gibberellic acid, and salicylic acid. Verified by the 2024 Frontiers in Chemistry peer-reviewed study using validated LCMS/MS methodology. Produced the longest, most branching root systems of any method tested, consistent with bioarxiv data showing aloe vera mean root length of 14.44 centimeters, significantly exceeding synthetic rooting hormone at 6.45 centimeters in Epipremnum aureum cuttings. Harvest leaves 5 to 7 days before use for maximum hormone concentration. Confirmed by ResearchGate peer-reviewed research. The best natural option for gardeners who want strong results without the preparation time of willow water. Willow water, 79% the $1 winner. Contains natural IAA and IBA, natural auxin compounds confirmed by Garden Therapy, Deep Green Permaculture, Bite-Sized Gardening, and Jackson County Master Gardener Association. Plus salicylic acid, which activates the cutting's systemic acquired resistance against bacterial and fungal infection. Both root stimulation and infection protection simultaneously from a single source that costs almost nothing to prepare. Not recommended for hardwood cuttings or difficult-to-root species where commercial IBA concentrations are required. For the softwood cuttings that represent the majority of what home gardeners propagate, roses, herbs, hydrangeas, shrubs, perennials, this is the most effective natural method this experiment found. Commercial rooting hormone, 84% the industry standard. Highest concentration of chemically stable synthetic IBA. Most reliable across the widest range of species. The benchmark. Worth every penny for difficult species and hardwood cuttings where natural alternatives consistently underperform. What this experiment actually proved. The ranking tells one clear story. The methods that contain actual plant growth hormones, commercial IBA, willow water, and aloe vera, all significantly outperform the methods that provide infection protection only, cinnamon and honey. The gap is not marginal. It is substantial and consistent across the entire 90-day period. If your cuttings are failing because of rot and infection, cinnamon or honey will help. If your cuttings are failing because root formation is slow or inconsistent, you need auxin. Choose your method based on your actual problem, not based on what social media is currently promoting. Here at Gardening Answers, this is exactly what we bring you every single week. Real experiments, honest results, and the science that makes sense of what you are actually seeing in your garden. Subscribe right now and hit the bell if you are not already with us. The $1 Willow Water Recipe. Since Willow Water won this experiment, here is the exact preparation method I used. Collect fresh green willow twigs, pencil thickness or smaller, green or yellow barked, from any Salic species. According to a 2024 peer-reviewed study published in the Kirkuk University Journal for Agricultural Sciences by Salih, Muhammad, and Nouri, shoots collected in January produced the highest auxin concentrations and the highest rooting success rates in documented research. Remove all leaves. Cut into 1-inch pieces. Steep in boiling water overnight or soak in cold water for 24 to 48 hours. Strain completely. Store refrigerated for up to 2 months. Confirmed independently by Garden Therapy, Attainable Sustainable, House Digest, Deep Green Permaculture, and Gardening Know-How. Use at full concentrate strength for soaking the cut ends of cuttings. 2 to 4 hours for tender softwood. 4 to 24 hours for harder species. Never dilute for the initial soak. Follow up by watering the planted cuttings with willow water diluted 1 part to 1 part water. The total cost is the time it takes to collect a handful of twigs from any willow tree in your area. If this experiment saved you time, money, or wasted effort on methods the internet oversells, hit the like button. It helps Gardening Answers reach other gardeners who deserve honest results rather than repeated myths. This is what Gardening Answers is built on: real experiments, real science, and the honest knowledge that no one with products to sell has any reason to share with you. Every single week. Subscribe if you are not already and hit the bell so every new video comes straight to you. Drop a comment below. Which of these 6 methods have you been using? Does the ranking match your own experience or does it surprise you? I read every single comment here on Gardening Answers. Share this with someone who has been dusting cinnamon on their cuttings and wondering why the results are inconsistent. It might be the most useful thing they see before their next propagation season. And before you go, next week on Gardening Answers I am going deeper into willow water specifically, the exact collection timing, the preparation science, and the application technique that gets you closest to commercial hormone results for free. Stay subscribed and we will see you in the next one.